Everybody to the Salt Lake City Council formal meeting for July 16th, 2019. Before we begin, if I could ask all of you to join us in standing and repeating the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. So before we begin, I just want to remind everybody that as the City Council, we do our best to ensure that everybody has a safe and comfortable place to speak their mind and their opinions. That means that we request that no one claps, boos, that there's any applause, snapping, anything that that could potentially make somebody else uncomfortable. We just ask you to to respect everybody and their diverse opinions. So please keep that in mind. And then everybody who will speak during the public hearings, as well as the open public comment to the council, will have 2 minutes to make your comments. So we will keep that in mind as we move forward. There are two resolutions that we want to read, but before we do that, I'll look for a motion regarding the minutes, or the work session meeting minutes of Tuesday, June 4th, 2019, and Tuesday, June 11th, 2019, as well as the formal meeting minutes of Friday, June 28th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
That motion is moved by Council Member Fowler, second by Council Member Johnston. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously, and those minutes are adopted. The first resolution that we'll consider adopting tonight is a joint ceremonial resolution with Mayor Biskupski, urging the United States Congress to pass a resolution placing a price on carbon emissions. So I will quickly read through this resolution. It's a joint resolution in support of a national price on carbon emissions. Whereas the National Climate Assessment is a report of the U.S. Global Change Research Program delivered to Congress and the President on a recurring basis. And whereas the fourth National Climate Assessment, released in 2017-18, was informed by a team of more than 300 federal and non-federal experts, along with policy review by 13 federal agencies. And whereas the fourth National Climate Assessment aligns with previous assessments and the global scientific consensus in finding that global temperatures are increasing rapidly, and the evidence consistently points to human activities, especially the emission of greenhouse gases, as the dominant cause. And whereas the fourth National Climate Assessment finds that climate change creates new risks and exacerbates existing vulnerabilities in communities across the United States, presenting growing challenges to human health and safety, quality of life, and the rate of economic growth. And whereas the fourth National Climate Assessment finds that in the absence of more significant global carbon mitigation efforts, it is very likely that some physical and ecological impacts of climate change will be irreversible for thousands of years, while others will be permanent. And whereas communities are already experiencing the local effects of climate change through increased heat waves, changes in water systems, extreme weather events, dangerous wildfires, and other disruptions that threaten residents. And whereas studies show that low-income communities and communities of color are disproportionately harmed by the threats of climate change, and climate disruption threatens equitable outcomes and erodes opportunity in communities. And whereas municipal budgets and operations are negatively impacted by climate disruptions that consume and constrain resources and hinder the ability to serve communities. And whereas cities and municipalities have demonstrated that their commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions through a variety of policies and projects, incorporating energy efficiency, renewable energy development, electrified transportation, and other measures that mitigate climate change. And whereas the transition to low-carbon, renewable energy resources will provide a range of additional co-benefits, including enhanced public health, increased national and energy security, local clean energy jobs, reduced reliance on finite resources, and many other positive outcomes. And whereas local carbon reduction goals of communities must be complemented by national-level policies such as carbon pricing in order to promote energy efficiency and accelerate clean energy investments on timescales required by science-based emissions reduction targets. And whereas the need to transition from fossil fuels to clean, renewable energy can be accelerated through a price on carbon emissions that will spur innovation and reduce reliance on foreign energy sources. And whereas a price on carbon emissions would encourage and empower households and businesses to invest in energy efficiency, conservation, and domestic carbon-free energy sources. And whereas economists are in general agreement that market-based mechanisms such as carbon pricing will create price signals that efficiently inform energy investment decisions. And one more, whereas the goal of Paris Agreement is to mobilize an international response to the crisis of climate change through the creation of national policies that avoid highly dangerous planetary warming, and this ambition requires swift action by participating nations. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Salt Lake City Council and Mayor of Salt Lake City strongly urge the United States Congress to pass House Resolution 763, the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, that imposes a price on carbon emissions sufficient enough to reduce carbon emissions in line with ambitions detailed in the Paris Agreement on climate change. And this resolution is signed unanimously by Mayor Biskupski as well as the entire City Council. So I'll look for a motion on this resolution.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Councilmember Wharton to adopt the resolution, second by Councilmember Valdemoros. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That resolution is adopted unanimously. So the second resolution that we have is a joint ceremonial resolution with Mayor Biskupski condemning the treatment of migrants at the border. Councilmember Fowler will read this resolution in English. Councilmember Valdemoros will read it in Spanish.
Do you want to go first, Anna? I can do that. Thank you so much for this opportunity. We're happy to do this in conjunction with the mayor. So, resolución condenando el tratamiento de migrantes en la frontera sur, resultando que reportes locales y nacionales recientes han llamado atención a las condiciones inhumanas en las que se encuentran detenidos hombres, mujeres y niños migrantes, y resultando que un reporte reciente por la Oficina del Inspector General por el Departamento de Homeland Security encontró en un centro de detención para inmigrantes en Texas, construido para un máximo de 125 personas, que 750 a 900 individuos estaban detenidos en condiciones peligrosamente sobrepobladas y antihigiénicas. Y resultando que en otro centro de detención fronteriza, doctores y abogados dicen que unos 250 infantes, niños y adolescentes fueron encerrados por semanas sin alimentación, agua y salubridad adecuados. Y resultando que a partir de septiembre del 2018, 6 niños migrantes han fallecido mientras se encontraban en custodia de agencias gubernamentales de Estados Unidos, y resultando que la alta comisionada para los Derechos Humanos de las Naciones Unidas, Michelle Bachelet, declaró que está horrorizada por las condiciones en que los migrantes y refugiados, niños y adultos, están detenidos, y recalcó que los niños nunca deberían estar detenidos por motivos de inmigración o bien separados de sus familias. Y resultando que comisionada Bachelet además señaló que varias agencias de derechos humanos de las Naciones Unidas determinaron que la detención de niños migrantes puede constituir un maltrato cruel, inhumano y degradante que está prohibido por la ley internacional. Y resultando que el Consejo y la alcaldesa de la ciudad de Salt Lake City nos encontramos verdaderamente consternados respecto a las condiciones deplorables de las instalaciones de detención y realmente afligidos con las revelaciones presentadas en los reportes del trato inhumano que se presenta en dichas instituciones. Y resultando que en el 2010 los líderes policiales, empresariales, comunitarios, religiosos y gubernamentales de Utah se reunieron para firmar el Utah Compact on Immigration, el cual rápidamente se volvió un modelo para el debate sobre inmigración a través de los Estados Unidos. Y resultando que el Utah Compact contiene 5 principios claves para guiar el debate sobre la inmigración, 2 de los cuales abordan directamente las condiciones que ahora enfrentan hombres, mujeres y niños migrantes. Familias. Familias fuertes son la fundación de comunidades exitosas. Nosotros nos oponemos a políticas que separan familias innecesariamente. Apoyamos políticas que apoyan familias y promueven la salud, educación y el bienestar de todos los niños de Utah. Una sociedad libre. Inmigrantes están integrados en comunidades a través de Utah. Nosotros debemos adoptar una actitud más humana a esta realidad, misma que refleje nuestra cultura, historia y espíritu de inclusión únicos. La manera en la que tratamos a los inmigrantes dirá más acerca de nosotros como una sociedad libre y menos de nuestros vecinos inmigrantes. Utah debe siempre ser un lugar que le dé la bienvenida a personas de buena voluntad, y resultando que el Consejo y la Alcaldesa de Salt Lake City creemos firmemente que los principios humanos, compasivos y empáticos del Utah Compact deben guiar la política de inmigración y el tratamiento de aquellos que buscan alivio en los Estados Unidos. Ahora, por lo tanto, se resuelve que el Consejo y la Alcaldesa de Salt Lake City nos unimos para reprobar fuertemente el tratamiento y las condiciones inhumanas en los centros gubernamentales y privados de detención de inmigrantes e invocamos a nuestros líderes nacionales a tomar un plan de acción más humano para hacer frente a esta crisis humanitaria. Se resuelve asimismo que el Consejo y la Alcaldesa de Salt Lake City invocamos a nuestros líderes nacionales a adoptar los principios rectores del Utah Compact para guiar su debate y las consideraciones políticas en la adopción de una reforma migrante comprensiva. Se resuelve asimismo que el Consejo y la Alcaldesa de Salt Lake City transmitiremos copias de la presente resolución al presidente de los Estados Unidos, a cada senador y representante nacional de Utah y al gobernador de Utah, pidiéndoles que aprovechen sus posiciones de liderazgo para abordar esta situación de emergencia sobre las condiciones de vida de los migrantes en la frontera y para adoptar una reforma inmigrante comprensiva. La firma Jacqueline M. Biskupski, Salt Lake City Mayor, y el resto del Consejo Deliberante.
Gracias, Councilmember Valdemoros. Now, Councilmember Fowler will read it in English.
Gracias, amiga. A joint resolution condemning the treatment of migrants at the southern border. Whereas recent national and local reporters have drawn attention to the inhumane conditions under which men, women, and children migrants are being detained. And whereas a recent report by the Office of the Inspector General, I almost said General, for the Department of Homeland Security found dangerously overcrowded and unsanitary conditions at an immigrant detention facility in Texas where 750 to 900 individuals were being held in a facility built for a maximum of 125 individuals. And whereas in a different border detention facility, doctors and attorneys say approximately 250 infants, children, and teens were locked up for weeks without adequate food, water, and sanitation. And whereas since September of 2018, 6 migrant children died while in United States government agencies' custody. And whereas United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, stated she is appalled by the conditions in which migrants and refugees, children and adults are being held in detention, and stressed children should never be held in immigration detention or separated from their families. And whereas Commissioner Bachelet further stated several United Nations human rights bodies found the detention of migrant children may constitute cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment that is prohibited by international law. And whereas the Salt Lake City Council and Mayor of Salt Lake City have serious concerns about the deplorable conditions of the detention facilities and are deeply troubled as reports bring the inhumane treatment to light. And whereas in 2010, law enforcement, business, community, religious, and government leaders in Utah came together to sign the Utah Compact on Immigration, which quickly became a model for the immigration debate throughout the United States. And whereas the Utah Compact contains 5 key principles to guide the immigration debate, 2 of which speak directly to the current conditions which migrant men, women, and children are now facing. Families. Strong families are the foundation of successful communities. We oppose policies that unnecessarily separate families. We champion policies that support families and improve the health, education, and well-being of all Utah children. A free society. Immigrants are integrated into communities across Utah. We must adopt a humane approach to this reality, reflecting our unique culture, history, and spirit of inclusion. The way we treat immigrants will say more about us as a free society and less about our immigrant neighbors. Utah should always be a place that welcomes people of goodwill. And whereas the Salt Lake City Council and Mayor of Salt Lake City firmly believe the humane, compassionate, and empathetic principles of the Utah Compact should guide immigration policy and treatment of those seeking relief in the United States. Now therefore be it resolved that the Salt Lake City Council and Mayor of Salt Lake City join together to strongly condemn inhumane treatment and conditions at government and private immigration detention facilities and call upon our federal leaders to take a humane course of action to address this humanitarian crisis. Be it further resolved that the Salt Lake City Council and Mayor of Salt Lake City call upon our federal leaders to adopt the guiding principles of the Utah Compact to guide their debate and policy considerations in the adoption of a comprehensive immigration reform. Be it further resolved that the Salt Lake City Council and Mayor of Salt Lake City will transmit copies of this resolution to the President of the United States, each United States Senator and Representative from Utah, and to the Governor of Utah, asking them to use their leadership positions to address the emergency situation of living conditions of migrants on the border and to adopt comprehensive immigration reform. Signed by Mayor Biskupski and all of us.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Fowler. So I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt this resolution.
Motion to adopt the resolution by Councilmember Wharton, second by Councilmember Johnston. Any discussion to this item? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. We are now to item B on our agenda. So we will be hearing we'll be having a couple of different public hearings for different items. Our first public hearing is regarding the capital improvement program projects that are up. And if anyone would like to speak, fill out an orange card. I have two cards here. The first card, if I could invite forward Phoebe, Sydney, Avery, Harper, and Bella. And if you all want to talk about your CIP application and why we should fund it, that would be great.
My name is Avery Wintergren. My name is Harper Wintergren.
My name is Isabella Paulhus.
My name is Sydney Rousset.
My name is Phoebe Rousset. We are all friends and neighbors who live on Browning Avenue.
We are here to ask you to support our project, the McClellan Neighborhood Traffic Calming Project.
This project started because we, the kids on the street, didn't feel safe crossing the street to visit each other because cars were coming down too fast from 1300.
We walked our streets and the kids got neighbors to sign a petition and letters of support. We got more than 100 letters.
Right now, it's not safe for us and safe to the users of the trail.
Please approve the mayor's recommended budget for this project. Thank you for letting us speak. Thank you.
Okay, very well done, first off. And if anyone ever says that young people don't care about their community or politics, that is just not true. So thank you all very, very much for sharing your thoughts with us. We really appreciate it. The next card is George Chapman, followed by Scott Dutray. Okay, Dutray. Dutray. All right.
Okay, a few years ago, you decided to spend $1 million on the McClellan Trail. Instead of spending it on the McClellan Trail, you spent it on alleyways, prettifying alleyways. All the plants on the alleyways have died. Ask Andrew what happened. You didn't water, so they're all dead. So now we have $1 million, and the most popular part of the McClellan Trail, McClellan Street by 21st South, looks like crap. It deserves more than that. So I'm asking you not to just approve the McClellan Trail CIP that is recommended by the mayor, but also pass and fund the almost $500,000 for the second phase. McClellan Street needs it. Sugar House is growing like crazy, but right now the most important street in that area looks pretty bad. It makes Salt Lake City look bad. So I'm asking you, why the heck would you want to spend $1.5 million on escalators for the Leonardo when you can spend $500,000 and get a whole bunch more goodwill generated by putting a shared street on McClellan? This isn't my idea, it's Soren's idea, and it's a great idea. But you have to fund it. This is something that we've been trying to do for years. For almost 10 years, we've been trying the McClellan Trail. It's time to actually work on the real part of the McClellan Trail, the McClellan Street by 21st South. Please fund that CIP. Also want to point out that you're taking away money for the daycare center when you should be talking to the school district about using Benyon for a daycare center. They want to close it. I don't think they should close it, but they want to close it. Why not use Benyon, which is earthquake-proof, as a daycare center? Don't take away the daycare money. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Scott Dutray, followed by Soren. I don't have your card yet, but I saw you hand a card forward, so.
Hi, I'm here to request you guys to help us fund the Sugar House West Neighborhood Traffic Calming and the 600 East Neighborhood Byway Improvements. I've lived on Commonwealth for 27 years. Although it is technically Sugar House, it's below 7th East, and we lovingly call it the Sugar Hood. And I've seen it go from mostly rentals to owner-occupied in the last 27 years. It's a very much a working-class neighborhood and an affordable neighborhood. I walk my dog Ralphie and my neighbor's dog Harvey every morning around the neighborhood, and I've seen an increase of traffic and traffic speeds, particularly in the last few years. Basically, between 27th South and 21st South on 6th East has become a freeway. And with the use of Google Maps and Waze apps, they use us as a cut-through now coming off of I-80. There's times that, you can walk down and get clipped by a car who cuts so short trying to come down Commonwealth, Elm, or Wilmington. It's nuts. And now with all the infrastructure that we've built on the S-line, the traffic has increased and the speeds have increased. We would like to see a solution that slows down the traffic without pushing it to the other streets. We don't want to push the traffic from Commonwealth and Elm and Wellington to other streets off of 6 East. We would like this to be a model for taking a neighborhood-wide approach rather than fixing a problem at one location in order to make a problem somewhere else. That's why we think this project would benefit the entire city by being a model for other neighborhoods, particularly those who are close to freeway exits. Thanks for taking this opportunity to hear me.
Thank you, Mr. Dutray. Soren Simonson, followed by Nan Weber.
Good evening, council members. I know you know me in my role with the Jordan River Commission. I'm just here speaking this evening as a private citizen of the Sugar House neighborhood. I do want to speak, however, to the Jordan River proposal at the Fisher Mansion site. I don't know if in your work session you had the context for what's happening along the entire Jordan River. We're currently working with the state of Utah and Salt Lake County on a river-wide navigability plan, water trail master plan. And of course, Salt Lake City is always leading, and we're excited about the infrastructure that's proposed at the Fisher Mansion, both the education center and the additional infrastructure for boater access. There are beautiful stretches of the river that are virtually inaccessible, and this will be a tremendous improvement. I want to also mention two other projects that are close to my heart. One of those is Pioneer Park. As you know, I've been working for many years to try and see Pioneer Park become what it should be, as not only a regional park, which it does very well, but also a neighborhood park. There have been a lot of planning efforts. Our work with the Pioneer Park Coalition has tried to lead that. We've even brought funding to the city, and I think the coalition is firmly behind continuing to support with our own fundraising efforts the work that's going on. But the proposal from the mayor's office, I think, is very significant, and would love to see that continue to move forward. It's desperately needed in that neighborhood. The last project that I want to mention is the one that George represented earlier, or referenced earlier, which is the completion of the section of the McClellan Trail through the heart of the Sugar House Business District. That gap is really important, and I believe that we should fill the gaps before we do other improvements. I know there's some funding in the CIP proposal from the mayor's office and the citizen board to fund trail traffic calming further north, and also the 600 East traffic calming. But if you were to take those two and put them off a year and put that funding into that McClellan Street section between 21st and Sugarmont, and close the gap and build on the infrastructure that's under construction right now, I think that will be a very significant and very timely improvement, because we're within the funding cycle right now of all of the work going on in McClellan Street being completed.
Thank you, Mr. Simonson.
Thank you.
Nan Weber is the last card that I have. If there is anybody else who would like to speak, just fill out an orange card and hand it to our staff.
Thank you. I'm Nan Weber from the Salt Lake City, and I'm speaking to the Fisher Mansion project. I'm part of the Poplar Grove Community Council. We have been so excited about the advancements of saving the Fisher property, especially the carriage house that is being developed and has a fabulous new plan by the CRSA architects. We have a hidden gem in Salt Lake City that we need to save, and it's exciting to see that go ahead. We want to take that historical footstep, honoring the Fisher family, Alma and Albert Fisher, who established that great brewery on the west side, and also their great architect, Richard Kledding, who we owe a lot to in the Fisher Mansion project, and burst into this second decade of the 21st century and support this community project that will get the Jordan River's people's attention to the Jordan River of this fabulous asset that we have on the west side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Weber. I believe there is one more. If you want to come forward, sir. Thank you. Mr. Hebert. Hubbard.
Good evening. My name's Charlie Hubbard, and I'm way over my head. I came down here to support a project to slow the traffic coming off of the freeway through my neighborhood. I've lived there for 4 years. My grandkids play in the front all the time. I've watched the cars increase speed. I just want the cars to slow down. I don't know how to do it. That's what professionals are for. A big thing also is everybody in our neighborhood has to back out of their driveway. And with the addition of apartments with inadequate parking, the parking on the streets are increasing, which makes it extremely difficult to back out of your driveway. And if you'd slow the cars down, we could maybe prevent a vehicle accident or also prevent a child accident. And my grandkids are there 50% of the time. We teach them to stay out of the street, but I don't want anything to happen to any of them. And the last thing I was going to say was, and nobody thinks I should say this, but it's the squirrels. We have squirrels in our neighborhood that live in the back of our house, and there's 3 walnut trees across the street, and 3 months a year they cross the street 100 times. We lost 2 squirrels last year, and if you would get people to slow down, the squirrels wouldn't get killed, and you might laugh about it, but part of nature in our neighborhood is a good thing. Me and my little 5-year-old watch these guys all the time, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for your service in the Navy as well. And Maria Chavez. And Maria's is the final card that I have. If there's somebody else, just let me know.
I just wanted to add, I'm a resident of Brown, and my daughter's here today, and not to take away from his request to, there's a beautification project, I get that, there's an eyesore, but before we can make it look beautiful and pretty, as we should maintain, I think there's a bigger issue. It is safety of people and kids and bikers and runners. And I just think that it's not a matter of if someone's going to get hit or killed, it's a matter of when. I feel like our momentum has come so far. It's been a 2-year project. And I just think that there shouldn't be any money taken away to the traffic calming. I've heard traffic calming from 3 different folks. I mean, Sugar House, it's a real problem. It used to be such a great, quaint walking community, and I think the growth is great, but we need to keep protecting the walkers and the joggers. And so I just hope that they won't take any of the money that's supposed to go to the traffic calming for the purpose for the kids and the bikers. I've turned into the crazy lady on my porch. I scream at people, I get flipped off, and I just, want to have a little ease. And we can beautify it later, and we can bring the community to be part of that beautification project.
Thank you, Ms. Chavez. Seeing no further speakers, I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we close the public hearing and refer action to a future date.
Okay. Motion by Councilmember Wharton to refer action to a future date, second by Councilmember Johnston. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion passes unanimously. Our next public hearing is, I need to turn the page, a grant application for teen after-school program at the Sorensen Center. And I don't have any cards for this public hearing.
Mr. Chair, I think B2, according to my agenda, B2 and B6 will be heard as one public hearing.
Okay. So would anyone like to speak about B6, which is the Jordan River Paddle Share Program development?
Mr. Chair, I believe it's all of those.
Oh, it's all of those together?
Yes.
It's all of them together.
All the
Got it.
after-school programs.
Okay. Would anyone else like to speak to any of these applications?
Mr. Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and refer items B2 through B6 to a future consent agenda for action.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Wharton, second by Councilmember Johnston. Is that right? Or Valdemoros? Okay, let's do Valdemoros. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. So that does it for our public hearings. We'll now move to item C on our potential action items. Our first item is an ordinance regarding a zoning map amendment at 1805 South Main Street for the Alliance House.
Mr. Chair, I move the council adopt an ordinance amending the zoning map pertaining to the parcel at approximately 1805 South Main Street from BP Business Park District to CC Corridor Commercial District.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Johnston, second by Councilmember Fowler. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. The next item is an ordinance for street vacation at approximately 144 South, 800 West.
Mr. Chair, I move the council adopt an ordinance closing a portion of 800 West between approximately 144 South and the Interstate I-15 wall where the street dead ends.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Johnston, second by Councilmember Rogers. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Item number 4, an ordinance for 2058 North 200 West zoning map amendment. This item has been pulled at the request of the applicant. So we
Chair?
will hear this at a future date. Yes.
Do you intend to skip item C3?
Do what?
C3.
C3. Did I skip C3?
Yeah, it's Crystal Allen.
Oh, I skipped C3. Okay. Well, first off, can we vote on C4 and then go back to C3 since we're already here? Okay, so C4, we're not voting on it because it was pulled, so we'll go back to C3. Thank you for the catch, Mr. Pace. This is an ordinance request to vacate section of alley at approximately 1249 East between Crystal Avenue and Stratford Avenue.
Mr. Chair,
Councilmember Fowler.
I move that the council adopt the proposal and request that an ordinance be drafted to vacate a portion of an alley between Crystal and Stratford Avenues and Highland Drive and 13-8.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fowler, second by Councilmember Rogers. Any discussion to this item? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Everyone opposed?
No.
Okay, so the ayes are Councilmember Fowler, Councilmember Luke, Councilmember Rogers. The nays are Councilmember Valdemoros, Councilmember Wharton, and Councilmember Johnston. Would anyone like to speak to this issue? Since it is a tie, that motion fails.
I would like to speak to this if I may.
Councilmember Fowler.
You know, I think that this was a hard one for me to decide on. I tried to listen to everybody within my community, and it really, I think people within the community that live in that area came down the line sort of exactly how today the six of us came down the line, which was pretty half and half. And I think what it illustrated to me more so is something that Councilmember Mendenhall has kind of been calling for, and I think has been a discussion amongst some council members before I was on the council, is sort of what are the roles that alleys play within our city? How are we maintaining them? Is there a funding system for that? Should we kind of revisit some of the policies on alleyways? And so I would ask you, Mr. Chair, to maybe consider that in future agenda items, of just maybe starting that conversation. I know it's kind of been an ongoing conversation, so I don't know if we need to start it, but rather continue it. Because I think we do have a system of alleys, and yet I do understand the concerns of both access from those who opposed the closure of this alley and safety for those who proposed the closure of the alley. I can see both sides very clearly, but I think that's where we have to start making some tough decisions on policies and what those mean. So I would ask, just this kind of illustrates exactly that almost equal tension between the pros and the cons of our alley system.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Fowler. Anyone else like to comment? Councilmember Wharton.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I just want to state I voted against alley closures in my time on the council for that same reason, that I feel like we haven't had a comprehensive discussion. And unless there is some sort of very imminent and urgent public safety need for vacating an alley, I don't think that we can continue to adopt or to move forward on a piecemeal basis. And so I would welcome that discussion as well.
Great. Councilmember Valdemoros.
There are some standards that the planning division, the planning commission looks like when they make decisions on these closures or vacations, depending on what it is. And so, and in this case, the planning commission recommended and forwarded a negative recommendation, and that's why I voted no, but definitely in favor of taking a look at our policy moving on, because they are, we have these issues very often, and we take some time, you know what I'm saying, to take action. So the fastest we can talk about it and make decisions on how we're going to proceed with these ones, the better. So I'm in favor of what Councilmember Fowler said.
Thank you, Councilmember Valdemoros. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to item number 5, which is an ordinance revised FBUN 2 building height zoning text amendment.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council adopt an ordinance amending the text of Salt Lake City Code pertaining to building height in the FB-UN2 for an area of land located on the south side of 9th South between 2nd West and Washington Street, as noted in the attached map.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Wharton, second by Councilmember Johnston. Any discussion to this item? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We're now to item D, which is our comments, questions to the mayor from the city council. I don't have any questions for the administration at this time. Any other council members? Councilmember Fowler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This isn't so much a question as if I may just have a quick point of privilege. I felt this was the most apropos time to do such. And if I may, I just want to say, reading the resolution today on how people are being treated at the border, obviously I got a little bit emotional about it because it is deplorable. And I want to say thank you to the mayor's office and to this body for adopting a resolution calling for action down there. I'm proud again, to be, I'm always proud to be a Salt Lake City resident, but when we act together and do things like this to show that we believe in equity and humanitarian situations, and that we believe that everybody deserves access to water and food and decent living conditions, no matter who they are or where they come from, we stand as a city in that way, and it is admirable, and again, makes me a proud resident of not just Salt Lake City, but Utah as a whole also came together to address this issue, or at least try to address this issue. So I just want to extend a very big thank you to the mayor's office and to my co-council members for taking that step.
Any further comments? So, point of privilege for Chief of Staff Patrick Leary.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I think it's important for us to say we appreciate you standing with us on both resolutions tonight. They're both in so many ways very historic, and so thank you for your comments. We're proud to stand with you on these, and I want to thank David Litvak for his leadership on the second resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Leary. Councilmember Valdemoros.
As an immigrant myself, I really appreciate the opportunity that I've had in Salt Lake City to be included in the work that we do, and as a council member, and for the opportunity to serve. And the situation is deplorable. This is not who we are. This is not, as a society, this is not acceptable at all. America is about much more, way more than what we're seeing at. And I really encourage our state leaders and the congressmen and the senators that are out there in Washington, D.C. to really take a look at this, to bring both parties together and work on a comprehensive immigration reform. I've been here in this country for 20 years, and it seems like it's too slow of a process, and I implore them to take action. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Valdemoros. Councilmember Johnston? No? Okay, you were just leaning forward like you had something to say. Okay. All right. So we're now, it's time for comments to the city council.
No.
So if there's anybody who would like to speak to the council, the same rules apply as existed for the public hearings. So just fill out a card if you're interested in speaking to the council. Everyone will have 2 minutes. George Chapman, followed by Bill Barnes.
UN's coming to town next month. You are doing what? Nothing? Best chance in years and decades to show off our city, and what are you doing? Nothing. Come on. You have a chance right now to implement anything from, let's say, $1 a bus ride fare. I think it'll only cost a couple $100,000 for a week's worth of that. Why don't you do that? What about Canyon bus service? The best time of the year to have 15-minute bus service up the canyons. Why aren't you funding our future money on that? By the way, I'm looking forward to funding our future wages, drivers' wages. Thank you. But I didn't see anything in the packet about that. So I look forward to that. But I want you to do something with UTA to show off our city. Please, you have a month. If you're half as good as I think you are, you can do it in a week. So I'm asking you to implement, what, $1 fare for a week? How about $25 a month for a high pass? You're trying to attract people that are already, they're retired, like me. We have plenty of time to ride mass transit, but why would we pay $40 a month for that? Go down to $25 a month. There are other cities in this country that charge $25 a month. Why aren't we doing that? They don't get that much money at UTA from fares. Push on $25 a month. Push on better driver's wages. Push on $1 ride for fare, at least for that week. Just to show off our city. Come on. This is a goodwill marketing thing. And don't stop pushing kids and families onto Front Runner to increase ridership. That doesn't do anything on increasing ridership long term. You need to lower the fares, you need to have a better monthly pass system, and you do need Canyon bus service. Also, bike share, you've limited it to, I think, about 11th East, 9th South, or something like that. Developers are paying money to bike share that are in Sugar House. Sugar House needs, the S-Line, Parley's Trail needs a bike share station.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman.
That money should be in there, please. Thanks for listening.
Bill Barnes?
Hi, it's actually Bill Barron.
Oh, it's Bill Barron.
My writing's not
Well,
too
I thought
clear
it was
there.
Bill, because, I mean, you look like Bill Barron, but I thought it says Bill Barnes.
Yeah,
so
no worries.
I apologize.
I just wanted to come today to thank you so much for the resolution that you passed, putting a price on carbon emissions. I have been working on this for about 10 years here in Salt Lake City, and time and again, the city has come forward and spoken up on this critical issue. And it just means a lot, like you said, to be proud of being from Salt Lake City. You have done that for me. The mayor's office has done that. The city council has done that. The original resolution that you passed in 2015 was for a price on carbon emissions. And our organization, the Citizens Climate Lobby, got 100 resolutions across the country advocating for a price on carbon emissions. Now we have a bill introduced in the House. It's the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act that you're advocating for on our behalf. And that is a bipartisan bill that's effective in reducing emissions up to 90% reductions by 2050. So it's very strong, and for you to step up and speak about this is very important, and it shows incredible leadership here in the West. And I just wanted to extend the gratitude from all the volunteers of our organization, about 115,000 strong around the country, who are all working on getting resolutions in cities across the country to help build political will for us to take action on climate. So again, thank you so much for all that you're doing, and keep up the good work.
Mr. Barron, thank you for all of your time, and on behalf of the City Council, I want to thank you as well as all of your volunteers for consistently pushing this issue. It is very, very important. So none of this would have happened without your crew. So we really appreciate it. And I'm sorry for calling you Mr. Barnes, but okay. The final number is Nicole Bordeaux from UTA.
Thank you. I want to speak on behalf of a Salt Lake City resident first.
Okay.
I want to thank you, and I want to thank the mayor's office for actually having faith in UTA for funding our futures. I'm going to take some liberties here to talk about when I worked at Salt Lake City at Sorensen Unity Center, and one of the things I saw were the kids that lived in Glendale and how hard it was for them to get across town. And so today, and talk about getting emotional, it's really a thing for me to see that 9 route come to fruition. And you don't know how hard I've worked to get that funded. So thank you all. And I don't think you all know how much that's going to mean to access for kids that have to go from Glendale all the way to East, and helping them have access when they miss that bus so they don't have to keep having those absences to go to Horizonte. So that means so much to me personally. So I want to thank you all for that. Now, on behalf of UTA, so I'll put my other hat on, we want to thank you for your partnership, and we want to continue this partnership. And we have worked hard, and your staff has worked hard to really make this happen. We are going to do a lot of marketing, and we will work to get rid of those barriers. And fares are some of barriers, and there's a lot of barriers to access to transit. And I think you all know that, and we're working with the mayor's office and the mayor's staff as well as the council's office to see how we can continue to get rid of those barriers. I do want you all to know that the staff at UTA knows that. We're working really hard, not only for youth, seniors, and all the people that need transit. It's important to the city, it's important to Utah, and we're going to continue to do that. And we want more days like this. This means a lot to us. Our team is very excited about today. They're very excited about tomorrow, and it means a lot. I don't want you guys not to think about how important it is for you to use your political capital to do this, and we appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bordeaux. Is there anybody else who would like to address the council? All All right, seeing none, we do not have any new business. So we'll go to item F, which is our unfinished business, is a resolution funding our future transit second addendum to the interlocal agreement with the Utah Transit Authority.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Fowler.
Mr. Chair, I move that the council adopt the resolution entering into the second addendum to the interlocal agreement with UTA to implement the Transit Master Plan for 2019-2020 frequent transit network service, and that the remaining $999,824 be placed into a holding account reserved for future funding our future transit expenses.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Fowler, second by Council Members Johnston, Rogers.
Jandrew.
Jandrew. Any discussion to this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. The next item is the Council Office Manual Management Policy for Social Media Accounts and Comment Policy for Public Users. I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the social media management policy.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Wharton, second by Councilmember Rogers. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I will look for one final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Approval of the consent
Oh,
agenda? Is there anything on the consent agenda? I should check. There is, yes.
Yes, so Councilmember Rogers moves the consent agenda.
Second.
Since he was a little bit quicker than Councilmember Wharton, I'll let Councilmember Wharton second it if he'd like.
Second.
Okay, there you go. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
The consent agenda is adopted, and we are adjourned.